When I first saw this instrument, I said to myself, that has got to be good because Yamaha makes good stuff, right? Okay, there was that Vanova thing. But apart from that, Yamaha makes really good stuff. When you see the Yamaha YDS 150 for the first time with the brass bell and the real mouthpiece, you're like, whoa, that is so saxophone-like, right? Until the first time I picked it up and I said, ooh, how come this doesn't weigh as much as it looks like it should? It's all plastic except for this metal bell. And what is this for anyway? It's not just there to trick me into thinking this is a real saxophone, is it? Jay Metcalf here from BetterSax.com with a review of the Yamaha YDS 150 Wind Synth. I'm going to give you my very unfiltered opinions on this instrument since so many of you have been asking for a review. Now, while I really wanted to like this instrument, there are some issues I've got to point out to anyone thinking about buying one of these, including one that is really a deal breaker for me. Overall, I think the design concept of this instrument is brilliant. However, the execution doesn't quite match up. Let's begin with the key layout, which is just like a saxophone in many ways. All of the saxophone keys are there in the same places as you would expect them. One difference is that there aren't any rollers for the pinky keys. Not a big deal, but I wonder why Yamaha chose to leave that out. They used these attractive, dark, synthetic pearl key touches that feel quite saxophone-like. There's even a convex bis key. On the back, you have an octave key, a low A key, and this extra joystick which triggers various expressive effects. Typically on wind synth instruments, there are additional octave keys to extend the range. This is one of the things that wind synths can do easily that acoustic instruments cannot. The Yamaha YDS 150 only has the one octave key though, which in my opinion is a very strange and poor design choice. Yamaha has included a pre-programmed alternate fingering set that allows you to play up to 5 octaves, but it's very awkward to use since you have to add a palm key to your normal fingering, which forces you to do this. It's not easy. I would strongly recommend that Yamaha adds an additional octave key to this instrument, and rather than having this key only used for the one note low A, make this a lower octave key that allows us to get another octave of additional bass notes. You can program your own altissimo fingerings on this though, which is good. Another really cool feature about this instrument is that you can use a real saxophone mouthpiece on it. And when I saw that, I said, wow, finally someone has figured out how to do this. But once I had the instrument in my hand, I realized that this is just something that looks good but serves no practical purpose. Let me explain. One of the best things about wind synth controllers is the expressive capabilities they have. Unlike a keyboard synth, we can control the volume of notes with the velocity of our air. So blowing harder makes the notes come out louder, and blowing softer makes the notes softer. We also have the ability to bend notes up or down and add vibrato thanks to a bite sensor in the mouthpiece. That is on just about every wind synth out there apart from the Yamaha YDS 150. For some reason, they decided to leave out the wind synthiest thing from this instrument, which is the bite control sensor. So in reality, there is absolutely no difference between me blowing through this thing with the mouthpiece on or with it off. Speaking of superfluous things, the Yamaha YDS 150 has this brass soprano saxophone-like bell. Looks pretty cool, right? It's like this hybrid saxophone, like a RoboSax. From a design perspective, it's great. At least visually, it kind of looks like I'm playing some sort of saxophone thingy. However, the bell doesn't provide any function, at least as far as I can tell. This is a digital instrument that gets played through headphones or through the internal speakers, which are located here. When playing through the internal speaker, it kind of sounds a bit like a toy. Now, I'd love to play this thing for you through my amplifier so you can hear what it sounds like on a good sound system. However, they did not include a 1/4-inch output jack. You can get audio output from the headphone, mini jack, but come on, really? The YDS 150 is clearly not designed to be used for any sort of performance apart from a casual gathering of friends and family. On the Yamaha website, it says this: blowing into the mouthpiece resonates throughout the entire instrument. A sensation you can feel in your lips, fingertips, and even your heart. The integrated Bell Acoustic System, created by the fusion of acoustic and digital technologies, delivers an incredibly authentic, gorgeous sound that feels and responds as if you were playing an acoustic instrument. Who else thinks they're overselling it a bit with that statement? Let me know in the comments. To be fair, if you're playing this thing with the internal speaker activated, you're going to feel some vibrations, but that's because all speakers vibrate and you're going to feel those vibrations through the container of that speaker, which in this case is the YDS-150. However, as soon as you plug in headphones, which is kind of the point of this whole instrument, the vibration is gone. You don't feel the entire instrument resonating in your heart, unfortunately. For me, the bell and the mouthpiece only serve as some sort of bizarre saxophone placebo. Together, they make the instrument unnecessarily longer and just serve to disappoint you once you get your hands on this thing and figure out they're just for show. So at first glance, you think you're getting this cool hybrid saxophone thingy, but in reality, you're just getting a pared down wind synth with superfluous parts. The bell itself, while it does look cool, adds an additional 14 centimeters of length, and the mouthpiece adds another 9. So if you were looking for a travel instrument for quiet practice in hotel rooms or on the go, you're gonna need a bigger bag. Which brings me to the case. I actually really love the case. That's the one thing they nailed on this instrument. It's sturdy, light, and practical. It's got a single shoulder strap. However, this thing is not fitting in your carry-on bag. There is a nice app for this thing which allows you to choose and modify sounds, program alternate fingerings, and change some settings. It works on 4 AAA batteries or can be powered with a USB cable. It's got Bluetooth connectivity so you can play music through it while listening in the headphones. Great for playing along with recordings or a metronome. All standard features that are common on other wind synth controllers. Now it comes programmed with a lot of saxophone samples on it. They were really going for this hybrid sax concept, right? I played through them all, and big surprise here, not one of them could fool my deaf aunt into thinking she was hearing a real saxophone. Okay, here's alto 1. Alto 2. 3. At this point, I'm not sure if anyone will ever be able to create an accurate sample of a saxophone on one of these things, or if it's just a case that no one's really ever tried very hard. On most wind synths, they give you 4 or 5 saxophone samples that you're never going to use. But on this instrument, you get 56 really lame approximations of a saxophone sound. Up until now, my criticisms of this instrument have been nothing too serious, if the only problems were no bite controller, crappy sounds, and no 1/4-inch output jack. I could still recommend this thing to a player who is looking for a digital instrument that closely approximates the feeling tactilely of playing a real saxophone. However, while playing this thing, I quickly realized it has one deal-breaking fatal flaw. The keys do not trigger the notes you want to get consistently. Now, all wind synths are prone to finger glitches. When you get a new instrument, you need to spend some time with it to get used to the mechanism and any idiosyncrasies there may be. I'm not talking about finger glitches here, though. On my instrument, I have to press very hard in order to register the desired note. Not moving any fingers, I'm just going from normal pressure to pressing really hard. If I play with my normal light finger pressure, the same as I would play a saxophone, it just doesn't work. That's what playing B flat is like. Some keys are worse than others. Bis, the octave key, and front F are atrociously bad, making the instrument entirely unplayable for me and really frustrating even to test out. Every note on the instrument has to be forced down hard to increase the chance that you'll get the note you're actually looking for. We want high E. Gotta squeeze really hard. Now, of course, at first I thought that this particular instrument that I received was just defective. But then I did some digging and asked around people I know who own one of these, and they all confirmed they had the same issue with the keys not responding unless you press them down really hard. Then I went on the internet and found numerous forum threads and posts on Facebook groups complaining of exactly the same problems. Maybe this is an issue that only affects a certain percentage of these instruments, but that percentage is way too high. Either way, this issue is either a serious design flaw or a serious lack of quality control that Yamaha needs to address. If you own a Yamaha YDS 150, please let us know in the comments if you've had any key response issues or anything else. Now, if the keys responded to light pressure in the same way that a real saxophone will, I could still recommend this to a certain type of player who wanted a tool for quiet saxophone technique practice. The thing is, for less money, you can get a Roland Aerophone Go or AE10, both of which have bite control sensors, a line-out jack, and excellent key response, even if it is a bit noisy. If you're looking for a silent practice tool or a digital wind synth for performance, I would definitely skip the Yamaha and go with one of the Roland Aerophone models. I've done some reviews here on YouTube, which you can check out, and I have to say they're all very enjoyable instruments to play. My favorite place to order music gear is sweetwater.com, and I put a link in the description of this video to both the Yamaha and my favorite Roland Aerophone model. In the meantime, we can only hope that Yamaha gets their act together on this thing and releases an improved version. Right now, it's nothing more than a $900 gimmicky sax gadget. Mind you, not all gimmicky sax gadgets are bad. In fact, some of them are really cool, like the ones in this video here, which you should watch next.